They say one phone call can change your life. I never believed that, until the day it happened to me. I was 22, in my final year of university, when my phone started ringing during a gaming session with friends. It was my mother. I ignored it at first, but when she called again immediately after, I froze. In our family, that double call meant one thing: something was seriously wrong. When I finally answered, all I could hear was shouting and chaos in the background. My mom's voice was trembling as she said, "We need to talk, Liam. Did you do something to your sister?" Her words didn't even make sense at first. "What are you talking about?" I asked. Through her tears, she said, "Your sister Ella. She told us everything, that when she was little, you hurt her." My whole body went cold. Ella was 15 at the time, 7 years younger than me. I hadn't even seen her properly in years. "Mom, that's not true," I said immediately. But she just kept crying, repeating. She described everything. "We know what you did." I didn't even know what to say. I remember screaming, "No!" again and again, trying to make her understand. But the more I denied it, the angrier they became. Eventually, my father grabbed the phone and said, "Don't contact us again. You're no longer our son." That was it. Just like that, I was erased from my own family. 2 of my brothers texted later that night. Short, disgusted messages. "You're sick. Don't ever reach out." Then they blocked me. I sat in silence for hours before going to the shower. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to wash the dirt off a life that had just collapsed. For weeks afterward, I barely ate or slept. I called everyone, even Ella. No one answered. Finally, my dad texted one last time. "Stop contacting us. We need to heal." Heal? From what? From a lie that destroyed. Took me 3 days to decide whether to go. 3 days of pacing, replaying every fight, every insult, every tear I'd shed in silence. In the end, curiosity won over fear. I needed to look them in the eyes and hear what they had to say. Not through an email, not through a voicemail. The drive back to my hometown felt like traveling through a graveyard of memories. Every mile marker reminded me of something I'd lost. The corner store where Dad used to buy me snacks, the park where Ella learned to ride her bike. By the time I reached our old street, my chest felt heavy, my throat dry. The house hadn't changed. Same white shutters, same oak tree in the yard. It looked untouched, frozen in time, as if the last 10 years hadn't happened. When I parked and stepped out, the front door opened slowly. My mother stood there, older and smaller than I remembered. Her face was pale, eyes red-rimmed. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she whispered, "Liam," and the sound of my name nearly broke me. I wanted to run to her, but something inside me stopped. I wasn't the same person who left this place. Inside, the air felt heavy, like guilt had soaked into the walls. My father sat on the couch, staring at the floor, unable to meet my eyes. My brothers stood in the corner, tense, their faces a mix of shame and disbelief. "I don't know where to start," my mother said, voice cracking. "We failed you." I didn't answer. The silence stretched, painful and thick. Then she began to cry. Not the kind of tears that beg for forgiveness, but the kind that come from deep regret. "Ella told us everything," she said. "We were so blind. We didn't question her because we thought we were protecting her. I can't imagine what we did to you." My father finally looked up. There were tears in his eyes too, but his voice was steady. "Son, I don't expect forgiveness. But please know, I never stopped thinking about you." I stared at him, my chest tight. The words I'd waited years to hear finally came, but they didn't bring comfort. They only reopened old wounds. "I lost everything because of you," I said quietly. "My future, my peace, my family. You believed a story without even asking for the truth." No one spoke. Just the faint hum of the refrigerator and the sound of my mother sobbing. After a long pause, I said, "Where is she? Where's Ella?" My mother hesitated. "She's here. But she's not the same anymore." I thought facing my parents would be the hardest part, but seeing the sister who destroyed my life was something I didn't think I could survive twice. My hands trembled as I followed my mother down the hallway. Every step echoed like a heartbeat in my ears. She stopped outside Ella's old room, the same one that used to glow with fairy lights and posters of pop stars. Now the door was shut tight, paint chipped around the edges. "She hasn't been well since she told us," Mom said softly. "She barely eats, barely sleeps." I took a slow breath and turned the knob. The room was dim, curtains drawn. Ella sat on the edge of her bed, her hands clasped in her lap. Her hair was shorter now, her face pale and tired. When she looked up and saw me, her eyes filled instantly with tears. "Liam," she whispered, her voice breaking. I froze in the doorway. I'd imagined this moment 1,000 times, me yelling, demanding answers, screaming until the pain went away. But now that it was real, I just stood there. She tried to speak again, but her words came out in sobs. "I'm so sorry. I ruined your life." I stayed quiet, waiting. "I don't even know why I said it," she said between breaths. "It started as something small, a lie I told to get attention. I thought it would fade, that Mom and Dad would forget. But they didn't. They called you. And when I saw how angry they were, panic, I thought if I told the truth, they'd never forgive me." She buried her face in her hands. And then it was too late. Years passed and I couldn't undo it. Every time I saw your name, every time Mom cried, I felt it crushing me. Her voice cracked again. "I've been living with it for so long, Liam. I see your face in every nightmare." I took a step closer, my throat tight. "Do you have any idea what you did to me?" I asked quietly. "I lost everything. Friends, family, myself. I stopped living, Ella." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I know. And I'll carry that forever." For a moment I just stood there, watching her shake beneath the weight of her own guilt. The anger I'd carried for years began to crumble, not because I forgave her, but because I was tired of letting that pain define me. "I don't hate you," I said finally. "But I can't forget." Ella sobbed harder, nodding. "I don't deserve forgiveness." "You're right," I said quietly. "But maybe we both deserve peace." When I walked out of that house, I didn't feel healed. But for the first time in 10 years I felt lighter. Some scars never fade, but at least now they were finally seen for what they were. Proof that I survived.